Charles Biederman, TrimTabs launched the first free cash flow international ETF earlier this month. That's the FCFI. So why is free cash flow the way to go?
Well, free cash flow is the design purpose of business. The only reason to start a business is to grow cash, ultimately. It's not to create earnings per share. It's not to create just revenue growth. It's to create free cash flow after all expenses.
All right, well, tell me what actually is in the FCFI. I think it's across 10 international markets, so it's different from a lot of the other ETFs out there.
Well, it covers the 10 largest non-US markets: Hong Kong, Korea, Japan, Australia, Canada, UK, France, Netherlands, Switzerland, the 10 largest market caps. And in each of those markets, we look at the companies growing free cash flow the most as a percentage of market cap, or free cash flow yield. Free cash flow divided by market cap is free cash flow yield. So we're looking at the 20%, the companies that are the 20%, the top 20% of companies growing free cash flow in each of those markets are currently in FCFI.
And then why don't you talk about currencies, because hedging currencies is a big thing nowadays with regard to ETFs.
Well, we're not. So we're basically buying those companies in the currencies they're in, and maybe at some point we could do that, but you're actually getting non-US currency exposure. So if you think the US dollar is going to go up against everything forever, then maybe I don't know what to say, but this is a bet on those countries, and these are the fastest growing companies in the world.
And what about a benchmark? Is it going against any particular MSCI benchmark?
Well, there are various non-US equity benchmarks, and you can compare. We're only a month old, so we can't really say how we've done in the month, and we're not allowed to talk about our back test, how well we did on the back test, but I'll let you make up your own conclusion.
And then what about the TrimTabs TTFS, your float shrink ETF? That continues to do well, to outperform the Russell 3000. So talk about that and your expectations for that.
Well, we received every year, every time we're eligible, we receive a 5-star Morningstar rating for our performance and our results. And it's basically US free cash flow. Remember, free cash flow is the design purpose of business. TrimTabs float shrink ETF is the 100 US companies that are growing free cash flow and using a portion of it to reduce the share count, and are not borrowing to buy. So unlike outside the US, there is not that much float shrink. Inside the US, there is. So we have free cash flow in the US, TTFS, free cash flow outside the US in FCFI, fastest growing companies in the world.
And then finally, the TTFS has $245 million in assets. It's really been a fast grower since, I think, October 2011 when it was launched.
With $2.5 million.
Nice. So what are your expectations for the FCFI? How quickly can you get it to $245 million?
Well, it depends. I hope soon, but you never know. I think people are recognizing what we did with, there are no funds that I'm aware of that invest based on free cash flow. None that I'm aware of. You might know of some. And so I think what I tell people, we're really a hedge fund disguised as an ETF with ETF fees, 69 bips fee for FCFI, 99 bips for TTFS. A lot cheaper than a hedge fund. So far with TTFS, the results have been much better than most hedge funds.
You're certainly onto something. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for watching The Street.